Yo, it's Ty. In this video, we are taking a walk and I'm going to be talking about some Japanese advice that I would like to give like my past self. So hopefully it'll help everyone who's listening as well. In the last video, we ended at Dazaifu, which is basically we're at the back of Dazaifu right now, right where we are. And we're going to be walking up to this other shrine. And there's a really cool thing at the end, so feel free to even just skip to it. It's really cool. So about 5 tips today is what I was thinking of. So the first tip is study as often as possible. So if you can manage every day, do every day. If you can't manage every day, don't worry too much. That's okay. But try to do as much as you can, you know? Even just like a minimum of, say, 5 minutes. If 5 minutes isn't ideal, it's going to take a very long time to learn any language on that per day. But it is better than nothing. So if you, say, had a half hour or an hour every day, and then maybe one day is just not so good, you happen to do 5 minutes, that's still a victory. So don't beat yourself up over it. In fact, feel pretty good about that, honestly. An easy way that I found for myself to keep up the habit was kind of making a morning routine out of it. So I still do this even to this day. I get my favorite little blue blanket. It's so soft. I love it. And I make some tea and I press the study now button on Native Shark. I also will read a few books, native materials, so not like textbooks because those are gross. Don't do that. If you want a video about that, we can talk about that. Let me know if you're curious why I think that. But anyway, just kind of do what you can to stick to the habit. Also, check this out. Kamado Jinja, Tonneru Keiyu. So it's like Kamado, that's the same name as like from Kimetsu no Yaiba, right? Kamado Tanjiro is his name, so this shrine actually got kind of famous, though it is basically unrelated to the manga in all other ways except for the name. So I don't know if the people who actually are at the shrine are happy about it or not, but I mean, it's more famous now. But anyway, another tip would be kind of just check in with yourself. So, okay, if you can handle every day for a while, then sweet, do it. But if you get busy or some stuff happens because life happens, you know, what can you do? Then you can adjust. Don't feel bad about it. And then when life stops happening, maybe you can increase again, but it's all right either way. Another tip I would highly, highly recommend is doing native materials when you have extra time in your days. So instead of, say you have 2 hours you can study today, instead of studying for 2 hours through whatever your resource is, just do more native materials. So go read a book that you're interested in. Go play a video game that you like playing in Japanese, right? Anything you can do to increase your exposure to natural language is going to help you a lot more in the long run, because you're going to be seeing things in context. And Japanese is a very contextual language. It's very important to actually get exposure instead of just whatever your grammar resource tells you is the case. Especially if it's a textbook, it's usually wrong. Oh God, they're so bad. But while you're doing those native materials, one more very important thing is to not forget to have fun. So feel free to really like kind of look up a lot of words and figure out a lot of grammar points. Like that's a good thing. That's great for a native material. But if you are like constantly stuck and it's getting frustrating and you're spending just too much time not having fun, you're gonna burn out. So you can put it down, don't feel bad about it. Maybe come back after studying for another few months and you're actually gonna see your progress like a lot. Also, that tunnel over there was from Spirited Away. I think that was the inspiration for it, so that was cool. But if you want some recommendations, feel free to join my community. I have a link to my Discord in the YouTube description. Come say hi, ask for recommendations. There's also a lot of recommendations in the Native Shark community as well. We've built like a list of some stuff based on what unit you are in Native Shark. So kind of where generally you can start. But something to keep in mind, especially when you are starting off as a beginner into native materials, is that it's gonna be difficult. And that's okay. Like, that's okay. You just don't worry about understanding everything. Actually, one of the most important things I recommend is do a native material you've already read in your native language or whatever language you're familiar with. So for example, me, when I first started, I played Animal Crossing and Pokemon. And I love those games. I've played those so many times in English that I started off maybe a little earlier than maybe I should have, but it was really fun. And I understood how to play the game, so it wasn't a big problem when I didn't understand a sentence in the game in Japanese. So definitely, when you're a beginner and you're not feeling so confident, do something you've already played or read something you've already read. And also keep in mind that games tend to be easier than books. And then anime is kind of rough no matter what. But yeah, just hop in, don't worry. Maybe come ask a question for something you're stuck in my community. I'll be there to help you out. But another tip is don't be afraid of kanji or this little buggy boy on the screen. Kanji, kind of imagine it like English spelling. English spelling is really tough, and it took you a long time to learn it when you were a kid, right? And it just doesn't make sense all the time. Like sometimes it does, and there's patterns and stuff, but sometimes it just kind of doesn't, and you just kind of remember it after you see it a long time, right? That's kanji. So don't be afraid of them. It's perfectly fine. In fact, once you get used to kanji, they're going to be so much easier. I promise. If I'm reading something in only kana, which is the non-kanji characters, they're like phonetic characters, so they just make the sounds they make. It's so difficult to parse the text. That's why I only kind of recommend Pokemon, because it's the early games at least are often only in hiragana or katakana, and it's not great. It's really tough. I have a whole nother video on kanji and how to approach them and all that. You can check it out after this video. I'll put it at the end. But the last tip I would say is find someone who encourages you to keep learning. And if you can find someone who's close to you physically, location-wise, then yeah, definitely go hang out with them and study together. But if you can't, then again, come to my community or whatnot. It'd be chill vibes, you know? It's fun. There's a lot of people studying Japanese there. It's a good time. But here we are at the end, and I love this thing. Ready? It's like a little tunnel with a shrine at the end. This is why you come to Japan. This is it right here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.